Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. So let's see what's happening, what will happen, because now you already probably heard on social media, we have this very big potential Arctic outbreak coming through parts of the U.S. and Canada. So let's see, now is the December 31st. Happy New Year to everybody, and 2025 be spectacular. But let's see what will happen as we get into 2025, especially with the temperatures. But first, let's just see what's going on right now. We have a bunch of dense fog in some parts of Florida, the southeast, and also Texas and Louisiana, and some winter weather advisories, parts of Idaho, Montana, and Northern California. Also, some winter storm warnings right now in West Virginia and Western Maryland, and some freeze warnings and frost advisories in California there. So be aware, and cold weather advisory also some parts of California. So be aware, and also the avalanche warnings there, the light blue in the Rockies. So winter storm watches in the Northeast, and some freezing rain warnings there. Not freezing rain, like lake effect snow, sorry. Some lake effect snow warnings there. So be aware. In Canada, we still have some warnings there in the northern Quebec and Labrador, and also northwestern territory. So we have some wind and rainfall warnings there, and also snowfall warnings in Newfoundland and Labrador. So be aware, some spots of Labrador there. And northwestern territories, extreme cold. I'll show you the temperatures in a second, but please be careful there. Basically, let's see, wind chill values near minus 50 expected tonight. These wind chills will be moderate somewhat throughout the day, but will return overnight in some locations. So risks are greater for children, young adults, people with chronic illness, people working, exercising outdoors without proper shelter. So please be careful, dress warm, and stay safe. Now for like Nova Scotia, a wind warning as well as some blizzard warnings, some spots in Nunavut, Quebec, a bunch of even blizzard warnings, northern Quebec, wind warnings, some special weather statements, snow for New Year's Day, some areas there. So be careful in those areas. Now for the first to second week of January, we do have this big Arctic blast coming, and this is the day 6 through 10 temperature probability and outlook. So it shows until Thursday the 9th. So this shows this dark area in the middle, very much below average temperatures, close to 80-90% below average. It shows some below average mainly across central and eastern US, not all the way to the southeast too. But this is just the start of it. The 8th through 14 gets even darker there, the darkest I've ever seen in the southeast. So near like 100%, 90% below normal, as they show here. So this is coming around the 7th to the 13th, and likely brings some heavy snow and hazardous cold in those areas. So please be mindful of these temperatures coming. And just to see it, the 6-10 day temperature precipitation probability, so still below average across the west, shows some above average central to eastern US. The day 8 through 14, mainly below average precipitation in many areas, but does show still in the north and in the southeast a little bit above average. So here for the 850 temperature anomaly. So let's see, this is the GFS first. So there's already some cold air there, especially in Canada, but here the US does show already on the east below average, and like on the north. So this January 3rd still already a big wave of cold air. By January 4th, the GFS does have its spiking there, on the southeast, much below average temperatures. On the 6th, you see this other cold wave entering the north there. So it goes, but the GFS splits it in half. You get like a part in Texas, into Mexico, and more cold air in the northeast. but later the GFS does something insane. So this is January 11th. This is a new run, I think, because I saw the past run when I woke up and it wasn't like this. So this is indicating an extreme cold wave. Those values are like much below average temperature. So please be mindful and we'll keep monitoring. But also be mindful that this is like 1.5 week out or 2 weeks out, and these models update every single day, so this information will still change. But this around January 12th shows like much below average temperatures on the southeast and the east as this cold wave exits there. So this goes and layers too far out. But now the European does show still some above average sunspots of eastern Canada, sunspots, but this cold air comes in tomorrow, already January 1st, shows colder northern through eastern US. This goes to January 4th, does show sunspots in the Appalachians and the east, very below average. On the 6th, it gets the colder all the way down to Texas, and the 7th shows much below average temperatures near like the southeast, the mid-south, and this goes, and now the real thing comes. And so the European gets like on the northern plains or some areas much below average temperatures. This is like very much below. So this around the 10th, so this will cause some very hazardous cold, and around the 12th to the 13th shows this goes into the southeast there. So we will monitor this, but please be mindful from like the 7th to the 13th, and even before that on January 4th and 6th there will be already some cold temperatures, but please be mindful. Just for some curiosity, let's see some other models. There's the Canadian model 2, shows on the 1st there some cold air already here, and on the 4th does show across the southeast very much below average on the 4th, on the 5th on the east coast, but later around the 6th does show the plains there, so much below average temperatures there. So this dives down through the mid-south and the plains and goes all the way to the southeast late on the 8th. So this goes, and still by the 10th shows very cold. So please be aware. The models are kind of different, but they're all agreeing that very cold air is coming. So please be aware, and we'll monitor this. So let's read what they say here from the experts. So a significant pattern change is expected across much of the countries. Arctic outbreaks is forecast to spread from the northern plains to the south and east, leading to exceptionally high probabilities of below normal temperatures expected across much of the east. The coldest air of the season to date and dangerous wind chills are likely across many areas of the southeast, below freezing temperatures as possible as far south the Gulf Coast or Florida Peninsula. Impacts to highly sensitive citrus crops are possible. Frozen precipitation across the parts of southern plains, southeast, and potential heavy snow extending northward include much of the Appalachians, Ohio Valley, and Mid-Atlantic and Great Lakes and Northeast, potentially leading to significant travel disruptions. Additionally, heavy lake effect snow is likely to enhance storage fires downwind of the Great Lakes and Arctic air pushes south, particularly on frozen waters. So you heard that. Please have a lot of warm clothes and be prepared. Now for the hazards, day 3 through 7. That shows some high winds, some parts of the Rockies and also California, some heavy precipitation still in the northwest. The hazardous cold, January 3rd through January 6th, down the north, yes, and some does show some freezing rain hazards on the 5th, around the Midwest, some parts of the plains, and some heavy rain below it as well. Shows some heavy snows spotted through the northeast and some high winds. So be careful. But now, day 8 through 14 does show here wait, those much below not normal temperatures from the 7th to the 12th, and the heavy snow shows the heavy snow sunspots of the northeast there. And, and as they show here, wait, so at the risk of heavy snow, January 7th through the 14th, it's kind of hard to see here, but they show the moderate risk and the marginal risk there, the slight risk, not marginal, slight risk, and all the way to Texas, the slight risk, and more moderate risk of heavy snow and the hazardous temperatures. So please be careful those areas. Now just in the next 72 hours or something. So this is until January 3rd. Does show snow on the mountains there, the northwest, some spots of the Rockies in Colorado, Wyoming, some areas too. Does show only the next 72 hours more near like New York and Pennsylvania. Those reds are close to 18 inches, shows some more the interior of the northeast. So be aware those areas. Now for just the chart here in the short term, does show the 31st today, some freezing rain possible in New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and some snow there, Washington, Oregon, especially in Oregon, and some Montana to Colorado, even the UP of Michigan. Tomorrow, New Year's Day, does show still some freezing rain possible the northeast, and some spots of heavy snow in New York, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And still in Oregon, Idaho, northern Nevada, and the white areas throughout the Rockies there in the plains. Day 3 does show some slight risk of snow all the way from Nebraska to Maine, with some heavier snow near the Great Lakes, and even spotted to freezing rain in Washington, Oregon. So the precipitation does show today the 31st more on the east there, so kind of a wet and snow New Year's Eve. Day 2 does show more further north and some in California and Oregon. Day 3 shows some on the Gulf on the 2nd and more in the northwest. Day 4 more the northwest, some spots on the east. Day 5 diving through central US. Day 6 the does show on the 6th more like mid-south. Day 7 some rain on the east and the west. So day 1 through 7 shows some high totals on the northwest still, so be careful, and some those areas of the east, especially New York, the snow. So be aware, excessive rainfall, this is not showing anything. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3 does show for January 2nd in California and Oregon. So be careful, January 3rd still there, not Washington, Oregon, California and Oregon, Northern California, so be careful there. Now for snowfall probabilities from the National Weather Service does show there today the 31st in Oregon, Washington, some. Day 2, a big area across Canada, and also the northeast shows like in New York, some Pennsylvania, those areas. Be careful, some snow squalls near the Great Lakes, also some in the Rockies. Day 3, some in the northwest, especially the northeast. Day 4 shows some probabilities across the west. Day 5 dives down through the plains. Day 6 more the Midwest showing, and Day 7. But this will change, it's just a forecast. In terms of storms, don't have anything crazy right now, but today we do have a marginal risk. Later today, some spots of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Northern Virginia, Delaware. So tornado threat actually 2% the mid-Atlantic, those areas, so be careful there. Wind threat 5%, and hail, where I say 5% too. So isolated severe thunderstorms associated with marginal severe gusts, hail, possibly a brief tornado expected to develop today from the Central Appalachians to the Mid-Atlantic. So stay safe there. And now for fire, does show the elevator there today still, as some spots in southern Texas and southern California, so be careful, some fire danger there. And tomorrow still in California, so be careful. Now for the temperatures and everything. first the snow, maybe. So here's better. So now the European model. Let's see if it has rain and snow. Here, so now it's like the 31st. There's that system, the Midwest. They'll bring snow to Canada and the Northeast on New Year's Day. So as you can see there, January 1st and 2nd, more snow across Eastern Canada and in the Northeast. And the same time, some snow lingering in the Rockies and another front on the west, on like the second, the third, shows more snow there, southwestern Canada and northwestern US. Especially on the third shows another front in California, where I have that marginal risk of excessive rainfall, and shows still more snow on the fourth across the Rockies and spots of Canada. But now we start getting the winter storm stuff. So January 4th and 5th, the European does start a big freezing rain event near like Kansas, Missouri, and some like snow throughout the central northern plains in those areas. So this goes there, still has freezing rain on January 5th, by like Missouri, Kentucky, and some areas. Then it does go and exit on the east coast, some snow, the mid-Atlantic, and it goes away. And after the December 9th, it does have more snow on the south, like Texas and Arkansas, and it does have some freezing rain in the Carolinas on the 11th. So it goes there and does show snow, some bigger, heavier snow in the northeast on the 12th and to eastern Canada. But this is kind of far out, and that's just one run. It might change. So the 12th run from yesterday does have the system there today and tomorrow in the northeast and eastern Canada. So be careful there. The fronts on the west with the snow, northwestern US, southwestern Canada, and also had the freezing rain around Missouri and Kansas and those areas around the 5th and the 6th, and all the way to like Kentucky and those areas. So it goes, and it did have yesterday as well some stuff in Texas on around the 8th, and also like some freezing rain on the 10th in like Alabama and Georgia. But this one's a little bit different, but no crazy changes. Now the GFS does show there some the system now in the northeast and eastern Canada. So be careful with that snow there that goes, and like does show on the 4th some snow in the Appalachians, and it does get like on the northwest. That's the 3rd, shows some spots of freezing rain and snow in Washington, Oregon, January 4th and 3rd, and now it gets the bigger winter storm like ice and sleet there, and some freezing rain on the 6th. So Arkansas, Missouri, and those areas it goes. Does show more sleet around the Carolinas, still some ice on the 7th, and more snow on the Midwest. Then the GFS on the 9th does get some freezing rain in Texas and snow there, and more snow on the east on the 11th, and more stuff later. So both models are showing some type of ice, freezing rain event, and a lot of snow. Just the placement and the timing is a little bit different on both models. But let's see if any other models have anything. This is the Canadian model, so it does show there the system now across the eastern US and Canada, so be careful that snow. Then the front in the northwest, the freezing rain and sleet in Washington, Oregon, and the snow there. This goes and does get snow for the Rockies and the plains on the 5th. Also on the 5th, the Canadians starting a lot of freezing rain and sleet around Kansas and Arkansas and Missouri, and some rain on the south side of it, and snow on the north side on the plains there. So this goes and showing a lot of freezing rain on the 6th. This goes and does show more in Virginia, North Carolina on the 7th, and more snow too. Later on the 9th, does show some lingering snow in the plains and Great Lakes. So we'll have to watch this very closely, because most models are showing these winter storms coming. So be aware. Now this is the freezing accumulation from the GFS until January 6th. So it does show some high accumulations in Washington, Oregon, those areas there, and also especially in the plains in Oklahoma and Arkansas, and all the way to Georgia, the GFS has some freezing rain there. And also in eastern Canada, as you can see on the right side of the screen. So we'll keep monitoring this, but now the snow accumulation from the European, the GFS, is also interesting. So this is January 6th, 7th, and by January 8th, the GFS already has a lot of snow for Arkansas, Missouri, especially not Arkansas, like northern Arkansas, and especially further north in Nebraska, some areas, and does have the heaviest snow across Canada, especially very high there. This is in inches, I think, close to 39 inches in next 10 days or something, and shows more scared across the west. So this goes, and the GFS even has around the 9th or the 10th in Texas. There's some. Now let's go back to see the European model. So here, go. So today's the 31st there. This goes the snow on the northeast in New England, and January 1st into eastern Canada, so be careful, the snow there. This goes, shows the snow piling up some parts of the Rockies still, and on the plains. By tomorrow it shows a little bit of snow in Iowa, the European. This goes, shows more snow like southwestern Canada and in the northwest, especially like Montana and Idaho, into like Alberta, Saskatchewan, some snow. So this goes, shows more snow there on the 4th as well, and the Appalachians that shows some too. So the 5th already starts some snow in Kansas and Oklahoma because that freezing rain event. So, and this just snow, not freezing rain, but from the system I showed you before. And by the 8th, it does have this corridor of heavy snow from Kansas to Maryland. So this goes there, and later it does have some snow in Texas on the 11th too, and more across like Montana, Wyoming, those spots there. So please be mindful of those areas of this event coming. Now shows like, let's see if there's something else. So be careful. Now for like the temperatures, it's a little bit far out to predict specific temperatures that will occur, but let's just take a look. So this year is already like by January 2nd, this goes, this is in Fahrenheit, yeah. The European does have some like -10 to -11, North Dakota, all the way to like -17 on the 4th, so -19 it goes, and does have like -27 southern Manitoba into northern North Dakota, might be like some -20 Fahrenheit. So this goes there, and later, this is the 7th already, has this cold air coming all the way down to the southeast, with some like 37 degrees in Tampa, 29 in northern Florida, and some 26 central Louisiana. So this goes, and does show like on the 11th still some -14, some -18 the northern Dakotas. This goes there, and this area the 12th, but it still shows some 20s and teens in the southeast. But the main day, I think, is the 9th, as it's showing here. Shows like Indiana and some spots in Illinois, some -1 Fahrenheit, some -2. So be aware. Now shows here like the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th is already too far out. But let's see, that is already the 14th, still shows some big cold air in Canada there. But yeah, so now the GFS has also some interesting stuff. So let's see, because it takes a while to load here. So this is tomorrow on the 1st. This goes shows some 30s on the 2nd, all the way down to northern Georgia. There on the north shows like -11 to -15, and on the 3rd it does show like northeasternmost Montana coast close to minus 20 Fahrenheit or something. So this goal shows like minus 23 Fahrenheit on the morning of the 4th, and the northeast some low teens and some single digits as well. So this goes and like shows still like minus 20 North Dakota on the 5th. This goes there, shows like sunspots of, because those white colors there in North Dakota might be like minus 22 Fahrenheit or something, or even less. So it shows some turns all the way down to Florida. This goes still very cold, the 6th, and this still the 6th. It's not even the day that the Arctic, the real thing is supposed to start. So this goes there, so like the 7th, so minus 16, and all the way to like minus 25 on the 8th during the night in North Dakota. So this goes shows like minus 26 Fahrenheit, and let's just take a closer look here, like the North Central, because I'm also curious about this. So let's see if it loads. So here's like still the 3rd. This goes shows all the way to like minus 26 or the morning of the 4th. This goes there, shows the 7th, some minus 12, some minus 14, and other spots like in Iowa, some 15, 13, 9 Fahrenheit, some minus 2 in Nebraska. But the morning and night of the 8th, that shows some minus 27 Fahrenheit, North Dakota, close like sunspots right on the border of Canada, might be close to like minus 30 or something. Shows minus 29 sunspots there on the 8th. And the next night on the 9th, that shows all the way to minus 20 South Dakota and some minus 15 Nebraska. This goes some minus 28 still there on like the 9th. This goes during the day, warms up a little bit, but the next night still shows like minus 24 Minnesota, sunspots minus 22 South Dakota. So please stay safe those areas. Now let's see if there are any different models here. So this is the Canadian model. This is the 3rd still, shows those cold temperatures there, and the 4th is like some minus 22, some minus 25 on the 5th. The Canadian model is all the way to like minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit on the morning of the 5th North Dakota. This goes still some minus 30 on the 6th. This goes still remains very cold on the 8th. This goes there, and that shows all the way to minus 33 in the northern Minnesota on the night of the 9th. So this goes, and later the crazy cold goes away there. But we are still 2 weeks out, and this will change a lot, because there are some people even showing, for example, AccuWeather, they do show like some minus 30 to minus 20 Fahrenheit, just like I showed there, but they also have a tiny spot there in the north, as you can see, in North Dakota, like minus 30 to minus 40. So maybe that there are some other specific models here that I'm not finding, but we'll follow this as it happens and post more updates. But you did see there's some models showing like minus 33 or something. So please stay safe. Now this page isn't loading very well, but here are like the wind chills. So this on the 4th shows some minus 25 wind chills, and this goes there, but I don't know if this is like very well. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. So here, because if the temperature is like minus 30 Fahrenheit, the wind chills could be like minus 40 or something. So for example, here on the 2nd shore is some minus 20s wind chills there, and this is on the 5th. That show like all the way to like minus 40 wind chills right on the division with North Dakota and Canada. It shows like some minus 40 northern Minnesota as well, and the temperatures there might be in the range like minus 29 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind chills are showing like minus 37, minus 40. So this is some very brutal wind chills. Please stay safe. This goes, and like it shows minus 33 wind chills on the 10th. This goes there, and it's still cold later. So please be careful those areas. Now for like continental US, does show on the 4th very cold in the north, not which like the southeast and the southern Rockies, and this is the morning of the 7th, and does show like some 30s all the way down to north central Florida, so like some minus 10 wind chills all the way to Kansas, very cold in the northeast too. And this is like on the morning of the 9th or the middle of the night. That shows like some 30s all the way to central Florida, some 4 is there, and depending on the outcome, it could get even colder than this. That shows very cold in the Appalachians too, the Midwest, many areas. Shows some 30s on the 13th, digging further down to central Florida. The wind chills and still very cold later. So please be mindful of this event coming. And here's like on the 7th, you can see the jet stream digging all the way down, the cold air behind it, and like the heavy snow, the boundary there, those areas. So please monitor this event and be careful. Now let's just see those temperatures there in Yukon and those areas, because it's very frigid. So here's Celsius. So the Arctic air that will dive down is already there in those areas. So show like some minus 30 Celsius, minus 35. So this goes there. Shows later on the 2nd, widespread minus 30s, so minus 38 even, not way to like southern Saskatchewan, so minus 20 Celsius, so minus 30s, and already in Ontario, a lot of negative temperatures, so minus 20s, in Quebec, very cold, except on the Far East. Then this goes Thursday to Friday the 3rd, shows some minus 20s and minus 30 still. The European models, some minus 39, and their northwestern territories has all the way to like minus 43 degrees Celsius. So please stay safe. The wind chills might be like minus 50, minus 60 or something. So please be careful in Yukon. The European dust instance was minus 44 degrees Celsius to minus 46 degrees Celsius on the 3rd. During the night, some minus 45. So please stay safe. There's some very brutal temperatures. This goes not way to southern Manitoba, some minus 20s. Friday to Saturday the 4th still very brutally cold there, especially in Yukon, those areas. So stay safe. That extreme cold, and even further south in Yukon shows more spots in northwestern territories. So this goes Saturday to Sunday. The 5th still cold, and shows another spot in Ontario and Quebec. Very cold there. Shows more there like Manitoba, some spots to like northern Alberta. And even in Nunavut, it's like some minus 44 there on the 6th, and very brutally cold. The 6th, this goes there, the 7th, and the 8th still very cold. So especially Western Ontario around the 8th, still in Nunavut and those areas, the 9th. So this goes there on the morning of the 10th, showing like some minus 30s. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, some minus 40s in Nunavut. So this goes there, show like northern Quebec on the 11th, very cold, some minus 30s. So the 11th, the 12th, does show like still northwestern territories, some areas, very cold, and Ontario and Quebec, basically the whole area negative temperature. So this goes in Labrador, very cold too, some spots in Newfoundland, shows like most of Ontario. So be careful. this goes there and still very cold later on the 13th. So stay safe. The GFS has a similar thing too. This goes and shows those spots on the 3rd in like northwestern territories, like Yukon, minus 45 degrees. So please stay safe. That cold, minus 30 or down to southern Saskatchewan. This goes there, and the European wasn't showing this, but the GFS is minus 48 degrees Celsius. Please, that's brutally cold. Stay safe. So this goes there on the 6th, the 7th. Does show like northern Saskatchewan, minus 42 on the 2nd, minus 30, and so this goes there on the 8th, shows some very cold temperatures, and the 9th still in Manitoba in some areas. So stay safe there, and please be careful, and we'll check from our updates later. So here for the snow for further north to Canada, because we were just talking about the U.S. and southern Canada. So does show today some snow in Nunavut, northwestern territories, northern Quebec, and also southern Alaska shows some tomorrow. And then does show Thursday that snow event I talked about, like eastern Canada, more rain, some parts of Nova Scotia. So on the 2nd, this goes there, shows some snow lingers in Alaska, British Columbia. Does show there like more Quebec and Ontario on the 4th, the GFS. So it goes there and shows more there, even like northwestern territories on the 5th, more there. Later, still in Quebec and Labrador, shows no snow on the 6th there, and the 8th. The 9th still showing some snow there, and also this corridor snow for central western Canada. And on the 10th, the GFS, a bigger system, British Columbia, in those areas. So be careful there. Now for some wind, does show still like today the 31st, some very high gusts northern Quebec because those systems, so be careful there, some blizzard warnings, and also the snow there, so be careful that wind. Later some areas there, so Wednesday the 1st does show some high gusts for close to 50 mile per hour in some spots of the Appalachians and New York and Pennsylvania, but like Newfoundland does show like some 105, 107 km per gust. Now it's the European model, shows more there throughout western Newfoundland Thursday the 2nd into Friday. Still shows in Maine and New Hampshire a little bit higher gusts. This goes there to northern Quebec, Friday the 3rd into Saturday. So does show the European sun high gusts north central Ontario there on the 4th, and the 5th. Let's see, because it's taking a while to load. But here, so on the 5th still shows like northern Quebec a little bit higher gusts, and does show this crazy system like Newfoundland, those areas, so some high gusts there on the 5th, and this goes January 6th shows some high gusts Nova Scotia. The 7th shows some more spots on northwestern territories and Yukon. The Europeans have like more than 163 km per hour gusts in some spots of the mountains in Yukon on the 7th. This is too much, I think. I don't think it will be this strong, but there will be some disturbances there. They'll bring some higher gusts in those mountains. So be careful. The 7th and the 8th does show like Alberta, British Columbia, is the coast of Alaska. So this goes on the 9th, a little bit breezier there, and does show there on the 10th some more in Alaska and British Columbia, some spots in Nunavut, northwestern territories, and even shows more wind like Nunavut, northwestern territories on the 11th, and more like southern Alberta into Montana, some higher gusts in the Rockies. So yeah, be aware, and later it's too far out, but be aware. Now further south here does show some breezier conditions, especially some high gusts tomorrow, the first in the Appalachians, goes 50, 48 mile per hour gusts. This goes shows some high gusts still West Virginia, in Pennsylvania, the Great Lakes. So be careful. And the European does get like Thursday, the second, very windy across Connecticut, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. So be aware, New York and those areas, this goes, and like more near the Great Lakes later. On the 4th, they'll show in Oregon, some spots of Washington, gusts still there. And they'll show on the 5th because of that system, some higher gusts as well. So this goes there, and the southeast on the 6th, the European showing some higher gusts. So be careful. In Alaska now, the 31st shows some very high gusts and some spots of southern Alaska. Then to Wednesday, Thursday is not showing anything big, just the Aleutian Islands. This goes, that does show some high gusts and spots of central Alaska and to western Alaska on the 4th. So be careful. This goes on the 5th, still some spots central Alaska, and later on the 6th, there's show a massive Pacific system into southern Alaska with very high gusts. Most of southern Alaska, Anchorage is kind of protected, but also might get a high gust from time to time. Central northern Alaska, those spots there, and the show later it spreads towards the mountains, 75 to even 80 mile per hour gusts. Those mountains still at the coast of southern Alaska shows high gusts, some central mountains. So this goes there, northwestern Alaska. So this goes on the 7th, it still shows those crazy gusts there. But this still might change there because this is just one model run, and it changes a lot. So it's not a absolute forecast, it changes a lot. But it does show on the 4th more snow, southern Alaska, some rain there. The 5th, the 6th, and the bigger system potential on the 7th, southern Alaska and Yukon. The GFS does have a system too, but not as big. So be careful in those areas. Let's just see something very quick here for like let's see if it shows any freezing rain. So it does show today and tomorrow the probability in the northeast. The accumulation shows very little there in Maine, but be aware those areas. The 48-hour snow shows that snow in the northeast. Be careful near Lake Erie, and shows more the Rockies, some spots of the west, and even in Nebraska. So be careful in those areas. The max temperatures today does show those teens and 20s the north and cold in the Rockies, and even some 80s southern Florida and some 70s in southern Texas, those areas. Does show some tonight to New Year's Day, still some like 2 degrees, 15 Fahrenheit. Those cold areas of the high Rockies might be like -3 Fahrenheit, -5, especially in Colorado and Wyoming shows some 10 Fahrenheit on the extreme northern plains, some 30s in the mid-south, and cold on the west as well. So this goes there, so like 7 Fahrenheit tomorrow during the day, there in the north, and some 60s in the south, still 70s in Florida, in southern Arizona and California, some 30s and 40s in New England and the Appalachians, from the 1st to the 2nd during the night. So Thursday morning, that shows some -6 there in the north, still some -7, some 30s all the way down to Georgia, some 20s the Midwest, some spots of the Appalachians, and some like things in single digits in the mountains there, and so some 30s and 20s in the Sierra Nevada, and some spots of the Cascades. Day 3 maximum does show still some 3 to 1 Fahrenheit there on the north, the maximum temperature, some 30s throughout the north there, some 30s, 40s in the west, but especially like some 20s, the Rockies there, some 60s in the south. But Friday at the 3rd in the morning, during the night, the show already some -14 there, some 20s the northeast, some 18, 20s, all the way to Texas. some 50s in Florida already, some 40s and 30s in northern Florida, and cold across the west as well. During the day on Friday, it does show some -1 still in the north, some 30s and 20s remain there in the north, and some 70s, 80s southern Arizona and southern Florida. So therefore minimum temperatures, so Saturday the 4th does show some -19, close to -20 there in North Dakota, very cold in Minnesota, South Dakota, some 30s all the way to northern Florida, shows some teens and like 9, 10 Fahrenheit and 13, 12 Fahrenheit New England, some areas the Appalachians, and some spots on the west as well, those 20s, the mountains. During the day on the 4th still remains some negative Fahrenheit on the north, some 20s and teens throughout the northeast, and the next night on the 5th does show still like some -11, some -12 in the north, and very cold, so like 1, 2 Fahrenheit on the northeast or even less. Some 30s all the way down to Florida, so far is in central Florida, and like day 6 maximum temperatures for Sunday during the day does show still like single digits there in the north, some 20s and teens in the northeast and the high parts of the Rockies. Day 6 minimum temperature still sounds like -14 to -15 on January 6th, but it might be locally colder, like some models at -20 or something, so be careful. Shows some 30s all the way down to Georgia. And day 7 maximum temperature still shows very cold across the north there and the Rockies, some areas, so be careful in those areas and be mindful of this cold air coming. And also be careful some other stuff like fog, those areas, especially in the south, the west shows some fog, way north in the Arctic might be some freezing fog in some areas, and yeah, stay safe.